Hey there, welcome back to Painted, everyone. For those of you who have been watching recently, you saw that I am hopefully opening a brick and mortar studio soon. Everything's going along nicely, permits are showing up. Now we just got to get the building permits done, and this time of year that's a little crazy, but we're keeping our fingers crossed to be open in time for this late fall, early holiday season. Meanwhile, I'm constantly painting furniture to put in the showroom area as well as to use as teaching tools. And to that point today, we are going to be working with one of my favorite products, Faux Old World Finishing Paint. Yeah, I know it's backwards, but I'll hold it there, and those of you who are good at reading backwards can read that. So we're using Old World Finishing Paint on a vintage needlepoint footrest. It's probably closer to antique. Let me turn the camera so you all can see it. This is the piece. You can see that. The top has been removed and primed, sanded, cleaned, all of that stuff. I'm just waiting for it to dry enough for me to go on with the next step. And you can see the pieces back here. There's a desk here. There's a carved chair here. There's a lot of furniture painting going on in the last couple of days. It's been all about cleaning, sanding, gluing together assorted joints that needed to be put together, and prepping and priming. So we're good. This one, we're going to go with the Old World Finishing Paint. I'll cover my steps with you to deal with an old piece like this. The first thing I do is a combination of cleaning and testing the surface. And when I'm testing the surface, I'm looking to see if I can find whether it's varnish or shellac, or if somebody's polyurethaned it, if the house has had smokers, if somebody's waxed it, that sort of thing. Let me take a second here. I'm going to refresh my page because once I start painting, I won't be able to look at commentary and stuff, and it's easier if I have it in front of me. Okay, there we go. I can see myself, but maybe I need to turn my volume off because I don't need to listen to myself. Oh my God, where's the volume? You'd think I'd remember to turn the volume down each time I do this, but of course I don't. So, back to work. I use something like Crud Cutter or Simple Green or something like along those lines. I've used Faux Easy Clean, just generally to get nastiness off of it. Old pieces of furniture are likely to have years of buildup on it that's not even wax. It's just product buildup or dirt or, you know, whatever that has been going on in the house. If you're in my house, would have cooking oils on it. So I start with that, and then I also use denatured alcohol, which I keep in a little sprayer. Actually, I keep a lot of stuff in little sprayers. This says isopropyl alcohol, but I happen to have extras of these from the drugstore. I fill it with denatured alcohol, use it, and I spritz it on the surface. And what I'm looking for is to see if that surface gets gummy. If the surface gets gummy, I'm either dealing with a water-based top coat or shellac. Shellac is more likely on a piece this age, but then I start wiping it off with paper towels and it'll be brownish yellow, and I'm guaranteed that that's shellac. So I have to, once I've completely cleaned it, I have to let it dry for quite, about 24 hours, 12 to 24 hours, to make sure that the shellac has time to reharden and then become stable. Then hey Martin, I'm a belt and suspenders kind of person, so with weird old furniture, first thing I always do is put on a coat of Primetch. That's because whatever I want to put over it, I want to make sure is going to grab. And then the next thing I do is I put a coat of, once that's cured for 24 hours, for this piece in particular, I have put a coat of Set Coat Clear on. Set Coat Clear is the same as regular Set Coat, it's just clear. And the reason I do that is I want my Old World Finishing Paint to slide and smooth across this piece of furniture really, really nicely. I don't want it to soak in and penetrate. I don't want any more moisture going into it than there's already has been over the years. And now I'm going to demo the product. We are using Old World Finish paint in Berry. So here's the side. I'll make sure you can see my hand because we got a little bit of weird lighting going on here. Let's see if I can get there. So I put it in a cup with a brush, and then I keep an extra cup of water nearby so that this easily thins with water, but I don't want to thin it in the cup. So I take a brush, dip it in the water, dip it in the cup of paint, and then I'm smoothing it across. I'm not going for a heavy, thick coat. I'm just smoothing it across. I don't worry if I get it on the hardware because this will wipe off. Old World Finishing Paint is not a product that can be used without it being sealed. It's not strong enough. It's very porous. It has to be top coated to be secured to the base surface. And I'm following the grain here, but honestly it doesn't really matter. I'm just working it into the ridges. And I'm catching a spot that I missed earlier because I do miss spots. So I've done one full coat on here, and it will dry lighter than the color it is at the moment. Hey Terry, nice to see you joining us. And now I'm going to turn this one turn. Now this is what it looks like dry. As you look at it, it's drier, it's streakier, it's much less intense looking. So I usually put on 2 coats. 2 thin coats of this really works nicely for me. Work a little more paint in there. And I'm gonna brush a second coat on here. And again, if I'm a little messy, it's kind of not a big deal. This is one of the few things I can say that with, in all honesty. It just smooths across the surface, because I'll show you why as soon as we finish this side. But again, I gotta work it into the crevices in here. A little water, more water on my brush. I wanna get it in there. I might have gotten that one a little wet. So you can see I got a little foamy, not my general thing to do. And keep smoothing it, working it into all the creases. And then I have to get down here. And eventually I'll turn it over and do the undersides of the legs and the underside of this detail that's under here, because I'm sort of touching at it right now, just more or less to make sure I don't have heavy drip marks that are a pain to clean up. All right, and see, because I got it so wet in here, I have drips. So I don't like drips, they're a waste of time. I'd rather take care of them while it's wet. I could also pull the drips down. I have a habit of pulling the drips up. Probably because of the way I'm sitting right now. But I want to make sure I don't have a lot of product going right there. And as you can see, I kind of made a mess of that, but watch, yay. Don't overwork this, because if you overwork this product, you're re-wetting the bottom surface, and I can go right here and take it down to the first layer of color, and that's not really what I want to do. I'll probably have to come back and fix that later. Oh well. And I'll turn it around to the back side here. Okay. Let's see. Hey Martin, thanks for coming by. Oh, it's nice to see everybody here. Cindy and Chris, all of you people, you make me feel so special. Okay, so this side now, I have done 2 coats. And it's fairly opaque. I'm not worrying about a perfect 100% coverage. Let me angle the camera a little better. There we go. So you're not looking at it sort of a weird spot. Hey Kim, hi Linda. So I've put 2 coats of Old World Finishing Paint on here. We've got it fairly opaque, but I can see brush marks, I can see streaks. Guess what? That doesn't matter. So I'm going to use this to distress. This is not going to be a solid piece. I don't want it 100% solid, and there's two ways I can distress this. One is I can take sandpaper. This is good old-fashioned 220 grit 3M sandpaper, and I can sand like this. And it will sand through this nicely. But I'm not going to do that long. It comes off really easy. It comes in it sands off, and it's very velvety. But guess what? I don't like to do that because of this mess. I try not to sand things when I don't have to. Where's my rag? There it is. I'm going to take another cup of water and a rag. And I'm going to wet distress this. Oh my gosh, hi everybody. It's nice to see you all participating. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to wet rub it. How do I know how much to take off? Until it looks like enough, quite frankly. And I'm going to rub back here and expose some of the wood. I don't want this super red. Let me grab this top so you can see where I'm going. Angle this back towards me. Hello, I'm back. This is what the top looks like, and of course it's reading a little rusty color in the light, but it's a relatively wine-colored needlepoint. This is the original needlepoint that whoever owned this thing put on there, and the reason I haven't removed it I'll cover later, but I need to zhuzh this up a little bit but keep it in character with the piece. So what I'm actually doing is I am kind of working some red in here, but not tons. So I'm wet distressing that red off and leaving traces of it. And see how nicely that comes off? And the nice thing is, when this dries, if I've decided I've taken off too much, I can put on more. If I've decided I've taken off not enough, I can take off more. This is a wonderful product. It's really easy to distress. And as you can see, I angled the camera up too high. I apologize, everybody. Wet distress is one of my favorite things. Why? Because all of this would have been sawdust. And it doesn't make much of a mess, and I'm a little more in control. And what's more is then with the sandpaper, I could cut through all my priming layers, and I don't want to do that. So I'm going to take that, and then, let's see, let's wear off a little. And then I'll wait until this dries. And then it's going to have a slight haze of Old World finishing paint over that, and that's fine with me. And then what I'll do is once this is dry and I've gotten the whole thing done, I will glaze this in a brownish tone glaze, probably either Faux Effects Asphaltum Transoxide Faux Cream color, or maybe American Walnut Stain and Seal mixed with some glaze, and I will tone it to get it closer to the color of the needle point. Now, I showed you the top before, and this will be the second time, and I hate doing this. This will be the second time that I will have had to paint a piece while the needle point is in place. Hey Ashley, nice to see you. The reason is, this is an old piece, and they sort of jerry-rigged this thing in, and you can see there's nails here, and this is not, I can tell by the way this is built that the plank that is right here behind the needle point, you can see there's 3 layers. This is original, this part here is original, but this is not. And it's so strangely pieced together that I can't figure out how to disassemble it without actually ruining the whole top. I'm pretty good at pulling things apart, but this is not going to be one of my best moments of pulling it apart. So sometimes, like I did with the needlepoint on those chairs, that one was a matter of ruining the needlepoint, taking it off. This is a matter of ruining the furniture itself. So I will carefully tuck tape around. Let me see, I've got a piece of tape right here. When I do this, I'm gonna angle this down so y'all can see how I tape stuff like this, because it's not fun. Hey Rima, nice to see you. I'm a little bit frozen on my screen. I hope you all aren't frozen anywhere else. God only knows. Gotta love how Facebook works sometimes. So, I've got 2-inch tape, and I'm not laying it flat. I'm taking the edge and sort of tucking it under and then rolling it up. Now, it may not grab 100%. I have tools that I use to tuck things like that in, and of course, it's slightly out of my reach at the moment. Oh gosh, nothing like a live where you think you have everything you need and then something else. Darn it, that's not it. So let me try again. Give me a second. Reach up over my desk. That's the piece. I thought I had it down closer. I was wrong. So I take this, and this is like a little, actually, it's, I don't know what the heck is for, whether this is pigments or if this is, oh, I know what this is. This is from Krylon makeup company for scooping out makeup from containers. So I've got this little stainless steel thing, and I use it to tuck the tape underneath. And that way I'm protecting most of the fabric, and then I burnish it down and kind of fold the corners carefully, tuck under some more. And I will do that with the whole piece here, which I will probably do after I'm done now. So today's live is kind of a short one. We're not going too fancy today. I didn't have a whole lot planned. I can keep working on this if you all want to sit there and watch me. You may or may not. Again, I'm looking at my feed and I look like I'm frozen. Of course, I sometimes have that happen when I cross around with the Wi-Fi around here. So if anybody has any questions about prime etch, old world finish paint, clear set coat, wet distressing, any of that, feel free to ask. I may go back, keep you with me, give you a chance to ask me some questions while I do a little more painting on that. So I've wet distressed that. I've done the second side there. All right, here's, again, only one side completed here. Let's keep going. I love this color, and this color can really shift a lot depending on the glaze that you put over it, even with just the shade of the brown that you use. It makes a huge difference on how this tones its reds. If I want this a little purplier, I'll make sure my glaze has a little blue in it. If my glaze is too red, anybody working on their color wheel, if it's red, I add a little green into the glaze. I might actually need to add a little yellow to my glaze because that needlepoint is slightly more russet color. So it's going to need a little yellow in the glaze to tone this red as well as the brown. And I can spread this on as thick as I could spread this on a lot thicker, but the more I put on, the thicker it is and the more I have to remove. So that's not always the best option. Sometimes it's a little like nail polish. Thinner coats are better. So I've got 2 coats on that side, 2 coats. I want one more side to get 2 coats on. And of course I've got to make sure I get the legs. And let's see. I hope people are still able to see me because quite frankly, I've frozen up on my screen, on my Facebook. page and I can't tell if it's just me that it's frozen for or if it's for the rest of you. I may not know until I go back and download this. So again, because this comes off so easy, if I get some of this on these hinges, I don't worry. Why are the hinges still on here? Because the hinges have become part of the piece of furniture. I promise you, I spent an hour trying to get those hinges off. Everything. Thinning, whatever goo has filled it up. Screwdrivers, power drills, everything. Anything I could get my hands on that I could try to get in there, but somebody really, really, really never wanted this side of it, the hinges, to come off, and so they aren't. Oh well. Again, some of these old pieces you have to make do. Oh good, Rima, you can see me, thank goodness. See, I could get your post up there. I can't, my screen is frozen up, so I can't see how the video goes, but at least I know you can see what I'm doing. That's good. I got a weird spot here. So eventually, in the long run, I will figure out whether I'm going to keep these hinges dark, if I'm going to go over them with foam metal and make them bright and metallic. Probably not. That's not really in character with this piece. But then once this is dried, this will just distress so easily, like you saw in the other one. Yes, I can see your posts, Rima. The last 3 posts I can read are Nancy Sipes is watching. Rima, you said we can see you, and I was wondering if you can see our posts. Yes, I can see, but that's all I can see. I have my iPad right here, and my iPad screen is frozen. So, all right, I can see you if I look up here, though. That's working. As long as it works, folks. That's what makes my days. That things work. I'm talking to you and I'm looking down and painting. I'm not ignoring you. See, you can see the left lens of my glasses. So I knew you knew I was doing something. Oh, you missed the beginning. What I did is I cleaned this piece. As I stated before, I cleaned it with Easy Clean to get all the nasty stuff. I also used denatured alcohol to test the surface to figure out whether it was shellac, varnish, polyurethane, or a water-based top coat. Then I moved it onto priming, which I used Prime Etch because I'm a belt and suspenders kind of person with these old pieces. After that, I put on a coat of clear set coat. Now, that one layer, that clear set coat, is not 100% necessary, but because I knew I was going to be distressing back into this with the Old World finishing paint, I wanted a nice slick, nice smooth surface underneath to make my distressing easier. And then we are using Berry Old World finishing paint, 2 coats, to then wet distress and patina to keep the age of this piece beautiful, but clean up the finish and enhance the vintage needlepoint that's on top of it. And that's kind of it for today. It's a real short one. I know you all have seen me do a lot of stuff before, and I have plenty of pieces like I showed you before. I have these other pieces, sorry for the hand, but that's the way it went today. I have these other pieces that I'm working on, but these actually I have a lot more work to do. I'll cover one of the pieces that I'm doing. For example, the front area of this desk. This is the exterior, and I've taken all the hardware off. Right here is the keyhole. I've taken all the hardware around everything. But if you look at this, the veneer is beaten up. So I actually re-glued some of the veneer and then sanded it way down so it's even, and sealed it with shellac because I have a really cool plan for the front of this desk, which of course I will do in a live, so let's hope it goes well. But I'm really, really thinking, oh, Linda, you like that chair? Yeah, that's a really cool chair. Again, it's another one of those things. I found this great piece. Let me see if I can zoom a little bit and turn the camera around so you can all see it a little bit. It's not up my nose. It's got some great carving on there. And it's got a lot of detail, but it's very, very, very dated looking. So right now, put me back in. Right now, all I've done, again, is the same as I've done with this piece. I have cleaned, I have scrubbed and scrubbed, I have sealed anything that needed shellac sealing on it done. That doesn't always need it. And then I have put Prime-Etch on it. The chair is going to have Prime-Etch, besides the Prime-Etch, the chair has Set Coat Clear, because why? I haven't figured out what I'm going to do with it, so I at least know I am well primed and set up for it. The desk is what's coming next. Oh yes, the possibilities. Oh my gosh, I don't even know. I have so many ideas. You know what? Everybody kick in with an idea for the carved chair. I could use some ideas. I have so many ideas. Anyway, we're done with the video for today. Thanks for everybody kicking in. I'm going to ask everybody to kick in with an idea for the carved chair. I will post it in a separate post, so please feel free to give me your ideas and your opinions. The only thing not acceptable on my page is to tell me not to paint it, because that's not what I'm asking you. Anyway, have a great day. Join me. I will post again soon. And I think probably the next thing we're going to work on is the desk. Just think teal and orange. It's going to be killer. I'll talk to you all later. Have a great day. Bye.